English is spoken by over 2 billion people, making it the language with the most speakers in the world. You know, it's no wonder that over 50% of the content on the internet is in English. It's because English is the language that connects people from all across the world. So, being able to speak English proficiently is an extremely valuable skill to have in modern society. Improving your English skills is the first step to accessing wonderful opportunities all across the globe. And it starts right here, right now. Hello everyone. How we sound when we speak is extremely important. Even if you have great vocabulary and grammar, the way you pronounce words can lead to miscommunication and confusion. It can also influence how people perceive you. In today's lesson, we will learn about some ways in which we can overcome some typical pronunciation errors that second language speakers make. We will also learn how to use stress and intonation to sound more natural when we speak. In today's lesson, you will learn all about sounds in English. We will learn about rising and falling intonation and how to use them in the correct context. We will learn which parts of sentences need to be stressed. We will also learn how to pronounce the commonly mispronounced English words and sounds correctly. Let's begin with our first core topic, intonation. Now, intonation refers to the rise and fall of the voice when we speak. If we don't use the correct intonation, it can lead to some misunderstandings. The intonation we use shows whether we are certain or uncertain about what we are saying. It also shows whether or not we are done with our speaking turn. In English, we can use rising intonation and falling intonation. Now, rising intonation, as you may have heard in my voice just then, is when the voice pitch gradually goes higher. We can use rising intonation when we are uncertain about something. We also use it when asking questions. Lastly, we use it when we don't want to be interrupted. Let's start with uncertainty. When we are unsure about what we are saying, we use rising intonation. Listen to how my voice rises. I'm not sure, but I think he's a doctor. Another reason we use rising intonation is when we ask questions. For example, do you have a spare pen? Now, another instance where we use rising intonation is when we speak for an extended period of time. We use rising intonation to show that we would not like to be interrupted because we are in the middle of completing a thought. Now, another type of intonation we use in English is falling intonation. Unlike rising intonation, falling intonation is used to show certainty. We use it at the end of a statement that we are sure about, like a known fact. For example, I went to work today. The sky is blue. My cat is overweight. If I said these sentences with a rising intonation, it sounds like I'm asking a question. I went to work today. The sky is blue. My cat is overweight. Still coming up in this lesson, you will learn how you can avoid making some of the typical pronunciation errors second language speakers make. So make sure you stay for that so that you can avoid being misunderstood by native English speakers. But first, let's move on to our second core topic, stress in sentences. When we speak about stress in a spoken language, we are referring to the parts of a sentence on which we place emphasis. The stressed word of a sentence may come across as stronger than the rest of the sentence. Much like intonation, the part of a sentence that we choose to stress can change the entire meaning of a sentence. For example, let's look at the following sentence. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? In this sentence, if I place the stress on pen, it means that I am putting emphasis on the pen because I would like more information about it. Try to say the sentence with the stress on pen. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? Great. Now listen to this. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? Now, I place the stress on you because I would like to know whether it was you who borrowed my pen. You know, maybe someone else could have borrowed it. Try to say the sentence with the stress on you. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? Great. Now, listen to this. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? I placed the stress on yesterday because I would like information about the day on which my pen was borrowed. Maybe I am unsure about whether you borrowed it yesterday or the day before, and so I place the stress on yesterday to check. Try it yourself. Say the sentence with the stress on yesterday. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? Wonderful. Now, let's look at one last variation. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? I place the stress on borrow because I am unsure of whether you borrowed the pen. You see, maybe you stole it. Well, I'm sure you didn't do that, so maybe I gave it to you as a gift. Great, now say it with me. Did you borrow my pen yesterday? Can you see how stress can change the entire meaning of a sentence? That's why it's extremely important to be aware of where you place stress or emphasis in a sentence. Let's look at another example of word stress in sentences. Sarah likes you. If someone asks you, who likes me? You can place the stress on Sarah and say, Sarah likes you. The question asks who, and Sarah is the answer to that question. So, you place the stress on Sarah to answer the question. If someone asks you, how does Sarah feel about me? You can place the stress on likes and say, Sarah likes you. The question asks for more information about Sarah's feelings, and the word likes describes her feelings. So, you place the stress on likes to answer the question. Now let's explore our final topic for the lesson, pronunciation. You might be wondering, why is pronunciation important? Surely, if people can understand you, why should pronunciation matter? Well, first of all, I want to let you know that there is a difference between incorrect pronunciation and simply having a foreign accent. There is nothing wrong with having a foreign accent. There are many different accents all around the world. An accent can be part of your identity. It makes you who you are. It makes you unique. But incorrect pronunciation is when someone says a word or sentence in the wrong way. This can often lead to confusion. When you pronounce something incorrectly, you may think you're saying something, but you're actually saying something completely different. For example, let's look at the word quote. If you accidentally pronounce it wrong, it may sound like you're trying to say coat. People will be very confused when you tell them about a nice quote you read in an article. As you're learning English, you're having to pronounce some sounds that possibly don't exist in your native language. Now, it can be quite difficult to pronounce some of these sounds. Trust me, I get it. Even people who have been learning English for years still struggle. The first step is to become aware of the mistakes you are making, and then you can work on fixing them. So, let's get aware and go over some common pronunciation errors that many second language speakers make. Firstly, there's the TH sound. It's very common for second language speakers to pronounce it as D or T. Some examples of words with the TH sound are this and think. This is often incorrectly pronounced as dis. Think is often incorrectly pronounced as tink. Try to say it with me. Put your tongue between your teeth and say this, this, this. Now, put your tongue between your teeth again and say think, think, think. Great job. The next pronunciation is the schwa sound. Now, schwa is the name we use to describe the sound that is sometimes present in words. Here are some examples. Chocolate, memory, family, animal. Now, I just said these words quite slowly so that you could hear the sound, or in other words, the schwa sound. But in natural speech in English, we never place emphasis on the schwa sound. We don't say chocolate. We say chocolate. We don't say memory. We say memory. You might be able to hear a slight sound when I say memory and chocolate. And if I speak really slowly, you will probably notice the sound. But it's usually very silent. Try to say it with me. Chocolate. Memory. Great job. Now, the next sound that you may struggle to pronounce is the sound. Some examples of words that contain the sound are fit, kit, and sip. Can you hear the difference between these two words? Number 1, fit. Number 2, feet. Can you hear the difference? Can you hear that one sound is long and the other sound is short? Listen again. Number 1, fit. Number 2, feet. It might be quite easy for you to pronounce the longer sound in feet, but when you say fit, make sure you keep the sound as short as possible. Say it with me. Fit. If you prolong the sound, you will accidentally say feet. As you know, there is a huge difference between fit and feet. I know what you must be thinking by now. Pronunciation can be confusing, especially because of spelling rules. For example, past and paste, they are pronounced completely differently. But don't let spelling get you down. In the next lesson, we will learn about the effect of the letter E and when to use it in spelling. We will also learn some other important spelling rules that will help you with the writing part of your IELTS exam. So, I hope to see you at the next lesson. Now, this sound causes a very common error. The W sound, usually represented by the letter W. Some words with the W sound include water, wild, and wash. If you have already mastered this sound, well done! But if you haven't, don't worry, you will get it soon. I'm going to pronounce a word in 2 different ways now, and you need to decide which pronunciation is correct. Listen closely. Can you hear the difference between these 2 words? Number 1, water. Number 2, water. Which one is correct? Number 1 or number 2? It's number 1, water. If you're trying to say the W sound by using your teeth and bottom lip like in the picture, that's probably why it's coming out wrong. Try to round your lips like this. Water, water. Now, another area of pronunciation that English second language speakers often struggle with is silent letters. Some words have letters that we don't pronounce. Some of these words include often, Wednesday, thumb, and foreign. Let's explore them one by one. Often. Now, usually we don't pronounce the letter T in often, but some people do pronounce the T. They say often. Oxford and Cambridge dictionaries accept either pronunciation, so you can go with whatever feels right, often or often. The next word is Wednesday. As you can probably hear, there are lots of letters in Wednesday that don't get pronounced. Say it with me. Wednesday, Wednesday. I saw my friends on Wednesday. Great job. All right, next we have thumb. Now, you don't pronounce the letter B in thumb. Say it with me. Thumb, thumb. I have a thumb on my hand. Great job. Lastly, we have foreign. Don't let that letter G fool you. We don't pronounce it. Say it with me. Foreign, foreign. I speak a